Imagine waking up clear-headed, remembering names, passwords, and dates without that cloudy feeling, even after 65. That's not a miracle, it's momentum. It's what happens when everyday foods quietly protect your brain day after day. Before we begin, do one quick thing for me so I can tailor future videos. Comment your age below. I want to know who's watching. And if you like calm, down-to-earth health videos made for seniors, subscribe now and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Today we're talking about 5 everyday foods that may help protect your memory. Leafy greens, berries, omega-3 fish, extra virgin olive oil and nuts, and a sensible amount of coffee or tea. These aren't exotic powders or miracle cures. They're simple, realistic foods you can build into the meals you already eat. Nothing here replaces your doctor. Nothing here treats or cures disease. But these choices can stack the odds in your favor and support a brain that stays sharper for longer. Let's start by acknowledging what many of you feel. With age, it can take longer to recall a name or a word. You might walk into a room and wonder what you came for. The brain is still capable of change. It just needs good sleep, movement, social connection, meaningful activities, and steady nutrition. Food works in the background. It doesn't shout. It builds your brain's environment, like a careful gardener tending soil. And because habit beats willpower, we're choosing foods that are common, affordable, and easy to prepare. Leafy greens are first for a reason. Spinach, kale, arugula, chard, lettuce, cabbage, the darker the better. These leaves bring folate, vitamin K, lutein, and natural nitrates that support blood flow. Think of them as daily maintenance for the tiny highways that carry oxygen and nutrients to your neurons. If chewing raw greens is tricky, a quick sauté with a drizzle of olive oil softens them beautifully. Slip a handful into your morning omelet, fold them into warm lentils at lunch, or blitz them into a smooth soup for dinner. If you've ever noticed you feel sluggish after a heavy lunch, try swapping half of that starch for a big pile of warm, garlicky greens and see how your afternoon focus responds. How about you? Have you tried adding greens daily? Tell me in the comments what form you like best, raw salad, sautéed, or in a soup. Berries are the second staple. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. Their deep colors come from anthocyanins that help counter the everyday oxidative stress the brain experiences. If fresh berries are expensive where you live, buy a big bag of frozen blueberries and keep them in the freezer at all times. They're already washed, they last for months, and they taste great stirred into warm oatmeal or a bowl of plain yogurt with a sprinkle of chopped walnuts. If you're watching your blood sugar, berries are one of the most forgiving sweet foods because a small portion gives a lot of flavor, color, and texture with fewer sugars than juices or pastries. Notice how you feel after a dessert of berries and yogurt compared with a slice of cake. Many people tell me they feel lighter and more alert. Do you get that afternoon brain fog after sweets? Share your experience in the comments so others can learn from you. Third is fish rich in omega-3s, especially DHA and EPA. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, anchovies. These fats are structural components of brain cell membranes. They help nerve cells communicate effectively, and they may temper low-grade inflammation. The goal is realistic. 2 fish meals a week if you can. Even 1 is a good start. If you're not a fan of fish, keep a low-odor option in the pantry, like canned light tuna or canned sardines in olive oil. A quick dinner can be as simple as warm whole grain bread, a big green salad, lemon, and a can of sardines flaked over the top. If you take blood thinners or have medical conditions, talk to your doctor before using fish oil supplements. Food first, supplements only if needed and safe for you. Number 4 is extra virgin olive oil and a small daily handful of nuts. Think of olive oil as your default dressing rather than something reserved for special recipes. The robust, peppery oils carry polyphenols that you preserve best when you use them at room temperature or for gentle sautéing. Store it in a dark bottle and keep it near the counter so you actually use it. Nuts add crunch, minerals, and healthy fats. Walnuts get a lot of attention, but almonds and hazelnuts are excellent too. If chewing is difficult, crush them or choose nut butter and spread it thinly on whole grain toast. A typical day might look like oatmeal with berries and chopped walnuts for breakfast, a lunch of lentil and leafy green salad with olive oil and lemon, and baked salmon with warm spinach for dinner. That's not a diet. That's just everyday food assembled with your brain in mind. The fifth element is moderate coffee or tea, mainly earlier in the day. Caffeine is not brain fuel. Sleep is. But for many people, 1 or 2 cups in the morning can support attention and reaction time without disturbing nighttime rest. If you're sensitive to caffeine, consider switching to half-caff or decaf afternoon. If you have heart rhythm issues, reflux, or anxiety, definitely ask your doctor about a safe plan. And remember, tea counts, especially green and black tea, which offer gentle caffeine and plant compounds that fit well in a senior routine. I want to pause here and take this out of theory and into real life by telling you about a viewer named Anna, 68, who wrote in after trying a simple 30-day experiment. She didn't change everything. She added greens daily, kept frozen blueberries on hand, ate fish twice a week, and swapped her regular vegetable oil for extra virgin olive oil. By week 3, she said her afternoons felt less foggy, and she started doing a word puzzle app every evening. That is exactly how this works. Not through perfection, but through small, consistent moves that change how you feel across the whole day. If your partner thinks salads are rabbit food, try warm dishes like garlicky spinach topped with an egg, or cabbage gently cooked with olive oil and caraway seeds. When food is warm and fragrant, people stop calling it a diet and start calling it dinner. There are myths I want to clear up so you don't waste time or money. It's not too late after 65. The brain can adapt. You don't have to buy expensive superfoods. Frozen berries and bagged greens are practical and powerful. You don't have to be perfect. If you eat brain-friendly foods more often than not, you're already building momentum. Coffee isn't automatically bad. Timing and your personal tolerance matter far more. Omega-3s are not a magic pill. They're part of a pattern. If you prefer plant-based eating, you can still support your brain with greens, beans, whole grains, olive oil, nuts, and berries, and discuss a DHA algae supplement with your clinician if appropriate. Before we move on, do a quick check-in with yourself. Which of these 5 foods is already easy for you, and which one needs a plan? Drop a comment with your answer. When you write it down, you're more likely to follow through tomorrow. Let Yeposh turn these ideas into friction-free habits so you actually feel the benefits when you wake up, when you socialize, and when you need to recall a name on the spot. The first step is stocking a small brain pantry. Keep a basket of nuts visible on the counter. Put a bottle of extra virgin olive oil where you'll reach for it every day. Keep frozen blueberries in the front of the freezer, not hidden behind the ice packs. Keep 2 or 3 cans of sardines or tuna on the shelf for days when grocery shopping is a no. Put pre-washed salad greens on your eye level in the fridge. When you build the kitchen to make the right choice, the easy choice, you stop relying on willpower. The second step is creating 3 repeatable meals you like. For breakfast, pick either oatmeal with berries and walnuts or an egg and spinach wrap. For lunch, commit to a greens plus something warm template, like arugula with warm lentils or spinach with warm quinoa, and a drizzle of olive oil and lemon. For dinner, alternate between fish nights and legume nights. On fish nights, keep it simple: lemon, pepper, olive oil, and a sheet pan. On legume nights, make a chickpea and tomato stew and bury a handful of torn kale in it at the end so it wilts and melts into the sauce. Hydration matters more than people think. Even mild dehydration can make you feel slow and unfocused. If you're the type who forgets to drink water, set a glass next to the coffee maker and drink it while the coffee brews. If plain water is boring, add a slice of lemon or a few frozen berries. And remember that tea counts toward fluids if it doesn't disrupt your sleep. Sleep and movement multiply the benefits of these foods. A consistent bedtime creates the deep sleep cycles that file and store your memories. Late caffeine can sabotage those cycles even if you fall asleep on time. So make a personal rule: caffeine before noon, herbal tea after. Movement helps deliver blood flow to the brain and encourages the growth and maintenance of neural connections. A brisk 20-minute walk most days is a powerful, practical target. If you need a balance boost, practice standing on one foot near a counter for support, or do a few sit-to-stands from a sturdy chair. No fancy equipment required. Let's talk sugar and energy. Many of you describe a mid-afternoon crash where focus drops and you crave something sweet. Try this simple test for 1 week. At lunch, make sure your plate has a real portion of protein and some fat, not just bread or crackers. That could be eggs with spinach and olive oil, or a bowl of Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, or lentil soup and a big salad. Then notice the difference at 3 p.m. If you still want something sweet, eat a half cup of berries with a spoonful of yogurt, then take a 10-minute walk. That combination raises energy without turning your brain into mush. Share your results below. Did the crash shrink? Your comment might help someone else try the same experiment. People often ask if coffee and tea are allowed and how much. The general pattern that works well for seniors is small amounts earlier in the day, then gradually reducing or switching to decaf as the day goes on. Some viewers do well with 2 cups of coffee before noon. Others do better with 1 small cup of green tea and 1 cup of black tea. If you notice heartburn, jitters, or poor sleep, lighten the dose or push it earlier. Herbal tea at night can satisfy the ritual without keeping you up. If you have specific medical conditions, check with your doctor, because the best plan is the one matched to your health. Budget is important. You don't need specialty stores. Frozen berries cost less than fresh and last far longer. Canned fish is affordable and fast. Store-brand extra virgin olive oil in a dark bottle is usually a fine everyday pick. Buy nuts in larger bags to reduce cost per serving, then portion them into small jars so you don't overdo it. If you're cooking for one, make a big pot of lentils on Sunday and use it throughout the week to anchor lunches. If a giant salad feels like too much chopping, buy pre-cut greens and keep cherry tomatoes on hand. They rinse quickly and don't need slicing. Let's pour this into a 1-week pattern you can repeat and swap around. On Monday, start with oatmeal, blueberries, and walnuts. Lunch is a spinach and warm quinoa bowl with olive oil and lemon. Dinner is salmon with roasted vegetables. On Tuesday, eggs with sautéed kale in the morning, a yogurt and berry bowl at lunch, and a chickpea and tomato stew with a handful of greens for dinner. On Wednesday, oatmeal again, or whole grain toast with almond butter and sliced strawberries, a tuna, and white bean salad drizzled with olive oil for lunch, and baked mackerel or sardines with lemon and herbs for dinner. Thursday and Friday repeat your favorites. Saturday is a great day for a hearty lentil soup with cabbage. Sunday can be a simple roast chicken with a huge salad and plenty of olive oil. The point is not to follow this exactly, it's to see how ordinary each meal looks while still supporting your brain. If you don't like fish, you still have several options. Keep the greens, berries, olive oil, and nuts, and aim for beans 3 or 4 times a week. Talk to your clinician about an algae-based DHA supplement if that fits your health plan. For flavor, use lemon, garlic, herbs, and roasted vegetables to build satisfying plates that don't feel like a compromise. If chewing is an issue, embrace soups and stews. A blender can turn spinach, peas, and potatoes into a silky green soup. You can top it with a spoonful of yogurt and a drizzle of olive oil for richness. We haven't talked about the social side. Invite a neighbor for tea and a small plate of nuts and berries. Share a new recipe with family. When you make these meals part of your social routine, you reinforce the habit, and you add the cognitive benefits of conversation and laughter. The brain thrives when food, movement, and connection show up together. Before we close this section, tell me in the comments which barrier is biggest for you: taste, price, time, or confusion in the grocery aisle. Your answers help me make future videos more practical for real life. Let's handle common questions in a way that keeps you moving forward without second-guessing every step. Do you need supplements? Start with food. If your weekly pattern gives you 2 fish meals, daily greens, regular berries, olive oil, and nuts, you're already covering a lot of ground. If you rarely eat fish, a conversation with your doctor about a moderate dose omega-3 or algae DHA might make sense. If you take blood thinners or have bleeding risks, do not start anything without medical advice. If you have diabetes, berries are usually easier to fit than other desserts. Pair them with protein like yogurt. If you have kidney disease, ask about potassium in leafy greens, and choose varieties and portions that suit your plan. If you're on a tight budget, prioritize frozen berries, canned fish, and store-brand olive oil, and buy greens that are on sale. Imperfect produce is fine in soups and stews. Another question is whether you can drink coffee if you have trouble sleeping. The safest experiment is to move your last caffeinated drink earlier by 2 hours for 1 week and see if your sleep improves. If your sleep is still choppy, cut the dose in half or use decaf after breakfast. Sleep protects memory consolidation. Protecting your sleep protects your brain. If you prefer tea, try 1 regular tea in the morning and 1 in the late morning, then switch to herbal blends after lunch. People worry that changing diet will be difficult with family members who want different foods. Here's a trick. Make the brain-friendly items the base and let others add extras. Build a large salad with mixed greens, olive oil, lemon, and a bowl of warm lentils on the side. People can top their own plates with canned fish, roasted chicken, or cheese. For pasta night, stir a handful of chopped spinach into the sauce and serve a small side of sardines with lemon for those who want it. For sandwich lovers, keep whole grain bread, canned tuna, and a jar of olives around so you can assemble a quick brain-supportive lunch without cooking a separate meal. Let us craft a simple, I don't feel like cooking, plan for bad days. Breakfast is a banana with peanut butter or a cup of yogurt with frozen berries. Lunch is a giant handful of greens tossed with olive oil, lemon, and a can of beans or fish. Dinner is a microwavable bag of frozen vegetables mixed with olive oil and leftover lentils. Keep it painfully simple. The goal is to avoid the spiral where low energy leads to low-quality food, which leads to even lower energy. On those days, the olive oil bottle and the frozen berries are your best friends. If you like routines, create 1 small ritual that marks your commitment. Maybe it's Shia, brewing a cup of green tea and writing down tomorrow RS meals on a sticky note. Maybe it's setting out a small container of walnuts each night for the next day. Maybe it's keeping your walking shoes by the door and taking a 10-minute stroll after lunch. The brain notices patterns. It settles into them. Your future memory is being built by what you repeat. Now let's do a short visualization so your next grocery trip is automatic. You walk into the store and head straight to produce. You pick 2 bags of mixed leafy greens and 1 bunch of something dark like kale. You grab lemons. You turn to the freezer aisle and choose a large bag of mixed berries. You stop by canned goods and get 2 cans of sardines in olive oil or tuna in water. You grab a jar of olives, a bag of walnuts, and a bottle of extra virgin olive oil in a dark container. That's it. With these, you can build most of your meals this week without thinking. If you want a treat, choose one you truly enjoy and practice savoring it in a small portion after a real meal. Deprivation is not the goal. Steady, satisfying meals are. I want to share another viewer story. Ivan, 72, who didn't like salad. He called it rabbit food. We started with warm dishes, spinach, garlic, olive oil, a pinch of salt, and an egg on top. Cabbage slowly cooked with olive oil and caraway, finished with lemon. Mackerel baked with tomatoes and herbs. 2 weeks later he said, "My head hums less at night, and I'm reading again before bed." Was it only the food? Probably not. He also walked 10 minutes after lunch and stopped drinking coffee after noon. But the food gave him structure. It taught his brain what to expect. And that rhythm helped him feel steady. If you're worried about making mistakes, here's the truth. Consistency beats precision. It is better to hit 4 out of 7 days than to aim for perfect and quit by Thursday. It is better to choose a simple olive oil you like and use it daily than to buy an expensive bottle that sits in a cabinet. It is better to eat berries 3 days a week than to buy fresh berries once and let them mold. The brain rewards momentum. We're nearing the end, so let's lock in the essentials. The 5 everyday foods to protect your brain after 65 are leafy greens, berries, fish rich in omega-3s, extra virgin olive oil and a small handful of nuts, and moderate coffee or tea earlier in the day. Build a brain pantry so these choices are easy. Keep sleep and walking as your faithful allies. Adjust caffeine timing to protect your nights. Start small, repeat often, and watch the fog lift bit by bit. I want to hear from you. Leave a comment if you've noticed memory changes in the last few years. Tell us what helped, whether it was new breakfast, an earlier bedtime, a daily walk, or adding greens to dinner. Your story may be the nudge someone else needs. And if this video served you, subscribe and share it with a friend who might need a calm, practical plan they can start today. In the description, I've placed helpful affiliate links to starter items many of you ask about, like a gentle, doctor-discussed omega-3 option, a reliable extra virgin olive oil, a mixed nut blend, frozen blueberries with no added sugar, and a simple mind-style cookbook to make these habits delicious. Those links are at no extra cost to you and help support the channel, but only use what truly fits your life. This is not medical advice, just a friendly roadmap. Your brain deserves care, your future memories deserve space, and you deserve a life that feels clear and steady.